As we reach the bottom of the hour, it's one of my favorite times of the week. It is time for Monica's Is That McNuts? Here we go. If I said the Cavaliers are going to win the next 3 games and win this series against Indiana, is that McNuts?
Greeny, this is wildly McNuts. That is not going to happen. I think we started this conversation earlier. I think it's time you got to give the Indiana Pacers their due. They have been a terrific team in this postseason. They performed in clutch. They've put their foot on the gas to start ball games. They have left little room for doubt.
So I love how seriously
Caesar wrap.
I love how seriously she takes the McNuts of it all. You buy in. I love it. Let's go to Jokic. If I said Nikola Jokic to the Nuggets are going to win this series, they're 2-2 against OKC, is that McNuts?
So this is just a mild case of McNuts. I picked OKC to get to the Western Conference Finals. I will continue to stand on that. However, if you told me Jokic mustered up the strength of optimist dime and carried his team, or Aaron Gordon had another crazy clutch time basket that elevated the Nuggets past the Thunder, would I be shocked? No. I think it's unlikely. I like the Thunder to get out of this one.
All right, and then the last one, Warriors down 2-1 to the Timberwolves. If I said without Steph, the Warriors are basically done, is that McNuts?
That is not McNuts, and I think it's because obviously the nature of the series, but that's not to dismiss Jimmy Butler as still a guy that can carry you through, but I just think the Timberwolves, their confidence continues to grow and grow and grow. And remember, this team was a formidable defensive unit legit. This is not something that they just turned on in the postseason. So if they're playing on both sides of the basketball, it's less about what the Warriors have and more about how well the Wolves can play.
Yeah, look, Wilbon said it sitting right in that chair on Friday. No team could sustain the loss of one of the greatest players of all time and still remain in the same position to win. It's just not a realistic expectation. When Steph Curry pulled up with that hamstring, unfortunately, I think we're not going to get to see what this team might have been capable of with him and Jimmy Butler in a playoff scenario.
I'm saying all you need to do is get one.
Right.
You need to, I mean, look, the pace of the game was a lot different in Game 3. Jimmy Butler, Kuminga went off. Like, they lost it down the stretch, but you just need to get one game to allow Steph Curry to come back.
All right, we'll see. They continue tonight. So do the Knicks. Knicks up 2-1 on the Celtics, but it feels after Saturday like Boston is in complete control. And let us count the ways. The Knicks have trailed at halftime by an average of almost 17 points during this series. Miraculously, they won games 1 and 2, but the Celtics dominated game 3 and won by 22. Karl-Anthony Towns is shooting 43%. That's down 10% from his regular season. He was just awful in game 3. 5 of 18 in that game, 1 of 3 from deep. And then Jalen Brunson has been exceptional in the clutch in this series, but the first halves of these games are another story. He's averaging just 9 points in the first half on 35% shooting compared to 15 points per game in the second half on 47% shooting. So look, we have distilled this series down, and I will repeat for those of you just joining us, all 3 of the members of my panel today were at the Garden for this game on Saturday. Windman, I'll start with you. We have really distilled this series down to some degree to it's all about the Celtics. If their shots go in, they're going to win. If their shots don't go in, then the Knicks have a chance to come all the way back. To some degree, that is letting the Knicks off the hook. And in particular, I think coming off of Saturday, Karl-Anthony Towns. What are the right things to say about his performance in that game and in this series right now, Windman?
Well, Karl Towns had 20 and 15 on Saturday. It wasn't like he laid an egg. I mean, if you're going to target Knicks, you could look at OG Anunoby, who they also paid a lot of money to, who's 3 of 15 shooting the last 2 games. The thing is, this is one of the reasons why the Celtics were so confused with the way the first 2 games went. The Celtics are pleased with their defensive strategy and defensive execution. They're pleased with the job that Drew Holiday and Derek White are doing on the New York perimeter, especially Jalen Brunson. And, you know, there's not a lot of options here for the Knicks if Brunson and Towns aren't hitting shots. And the Mitchell Robinson thing, I know that Joe Mazzulla got criticized for it, but guys, the numbers say it's working. He's 7 of 23 at the foul line, and I expect him to be at the foul line a lot more tonight. And there was actually an incredible moment in Game 3 that I think sort of summed this up. There was actually a play where there was a loose ball, and Luke Cornett of the Celtics fouled Mitchell Robinson and immediately turned to the refs and said, he was shooting. Yes. I've never seen a defender plead to the refs to make it a shooting foul. The crowd at MSG, I loved this. Instead of a Bronx cheer, they collectively came to encourage Mitchell Robinson. They were like, come on, Mitch, come on. And so, I mean, the fact that that's a part of the Celtics game plan and is affecting the Knicks also can't be ignored.
Wendy, to your point, typically when players shoot free throws, everybody gets quiet. They started cheering for him during that quiet moment in the free throw. It was amazing. That's what you need to do to try to get him out of his own head. Karl-Anthony Towns, Monica, I mean, he's an all-NBA player. They make the huge trade during the offseason. There were so many eyebrows raised around the league. Minnesota, this young team that made this run all the way to the conference final last year and then was willing to break up what looked like was going to be its core for the foreseeable future of Anthony Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns. So people wonder, well, what did they know? And now here he comes. And so what are the right things to say about the way he's playing right now?
Well, I think you have to consider the regular season, right? This has not been a favorable matchup for him for a while for whatever reasons. And in Game 3 in particular, you saw that drop coverage that was discussed a lot on the screens return after they had been switching primarily in Boston. So that's one thing. But two, again, when we talked about this earlier and having gotten to know these guys, they are not going to make any excuses. And he holds himself to an incredibly high standard, which means you're going to have to show up in this series. And I understand the numbers, 21 and 15 are terrific, but that game was over in the first quarter. So now y'all have to start as a team, including you as a leader and as a centerpiece and as a guy who has a skill set that can create some differentiation. You have to start sharply and stay connected to this team. And his three-point shooting is going to be important. They shot 22% in Game 3. If he's hitting threes, that'll help the Knicks keep up with the three-point shooting of the Celtics.
I'm not saying this is his game, but he's 6'11", 7 feet tall, 250 pounds. Why do I feel like he plays like a guard? There are times I want to see him bully people to the basket. There are times when Jason Tatum switches on you, don't shoot a turnaround fadeaway, bully him to the basket. Even we show little plays, there are times where I watch him go into the paint where he throws up these shots, and he may take contact, but that's contact he should bully through with his size and his frame. And it just feels like at times, even when he looked tired on the court the other day, and when you get tired, the last thing you want to do is settle for jump shots or fadeaways.
Yeah. The other observation that I will make is that 3:30 in the afternoon on a Saturday is a terrible time to get drunk. Like that's just well, we got people over, we're watching the game, you know, there's drinking going on, and then the game is over in the second quarter. I looked at one of the people who was there, I was like, this is not the same game as 1 and 2. This game is over. And now it's like 4:45. It's early Saturday night. And we got the game on.
It's a day party. Now you get to get a good night's rest.
I'm much too old to be day drinking, okay? My Knicks viewing party turned into a darty. That's what my kids would call it. And I'm like, I'm an old man. I got no time for this. I look and say, it's like, what time can I reasonably go to sleep? It's too freaking early to be doing this. Anyway, I think a lot of us went into Game 3. I was one of them, saying whoever wins that game is going to win this series. I would love to be wrong, but I stand by it. I feel like I feel like everything turned in that game. I feel like the whole thing, everything Windy has been saying all week, all of a sudden I realized he was right, that the whole thing turned. Do you feel like the whole series turned in that game on Saturday?
Jay never thought it was a reverse course anyway.
No, I thought they were going to run out of gas, and I thought their comebacks were so incredible that that wasn't sustainable. The last thing, as a shooter, look, you have no conscience. That's what shooters do, right? Like I've seen Monica miss several shots and then she's going to take her next shot. It does not matter. The last thing you want shooters to do is see the ball go in, is to find their rhythm. Because when they find their rhythm, it's a different team offensively.
Yeah. Well, to me, one of those Celtics was one of the players who might have won the weekend. And so this is our new Monday feature. We did it last week, and we ask you to help us decide who won the weekend. We'll give you 4 options, and you can cast your vote on my Twitter page, TwitterX at ESPN Greeny. The 6th man of the year, Peyton Pritchard, to me, he was the difference in this game. He had 23 points off the bench to help the Celtics get into this series with this big win. Candidly, he missed a bunch of shots. I don't remember any of them. I don't remember him missing a single shot in this game. I thought he was the difference. There was also the play where he rips the ball away on the baseline. He was sensational. He's option number 1. Anthony Edwards is option number 2. He had 36 on Saturday night to help the T-Wolves reclaim home court with a 102-97 win in Game 3. It was his 9th career 35-point playoff game. All other Timberwolves in history have 4. Anthony Edwards did it all in the second half and got back into it. How about Aaron Judge? He's an option for winning the weekend. He had 2 more home runs on Saturday. He now has 14 on the year. He was 4 for 5 yesterday with 2 RBIs. Aaron Judge is hitting .409 which is the highest batting average by a Yankee player through 40 games since 1994. And then finally, from hockey, the Golden Knights' Riley Smith. He scored a goal with 0.4 seconds left on the clock to give Vegas that stunning 4-3 win in Game 3 and save them from falling behind 3-0. It's tied for the latest go-ahead goal in a regulation playoff game ever. So again, you get to decide who won the weekend. Go to my Twitter X account at ESPN Greeny and cast your vote. Is it Edwards? Is it Judge? Is it Riley Smith? Is it Peyton Pritchard? Who won the weekend? I can tell you right now, 2 of the 4 are well ahead. I won't tell you who it is. Cast your vote on Twitter X. We'll see at the end of the show who won the weekend. Meanwhile, coming up, we'll explain